Welcome back to yourownarc.blogspot.com. We're going to do a part 2 on stage 1 minimum rations. A lot of people still aren't convinced that the minimum rations are the best way to go when we get started. And it's true, beans and rice and 9 grain for breakfast aren't really the most appetizing things to eat day in and day out. But minimum rations are important to keep you alive. So that's your foundation. I wanted to illustrate here, we'll call this segment perhaps wheat is not bread. Okay, because what we've tried to do when we're talking about the first stage, second stage, third stage is to break it down not only into the food that you need to survive through that stage, but also the tools and to make sure that we realize that tools are important for what we have to do. With your minimum rations, you can see there a little pint jar full of mixed beans and a pot behind it. Okay, that's what you need to cook those beans. You need the beans, you need a pot or a pressure cooker, and some water and a heat source. You could do that over an open fire. You could do that on a Gruger rocket stove. You could do that on a stove. Okay, but simply you could take that pot and go out and find some sticks and grass and weeds and cook them long enough and soak them long enough that you can make those work. Okay, so that's minimum rations. Very low technology, very low amount of tools needed to get those beans from the highly storable state that they're in that will last for many, many years to a highly nutritious meal that will give you the energy that you need to work. Okay, very little amount of tools. You could have a Dutch oven, pot, pressure cooker, whatever it is. Okay, let me illustrate right here. That is a pint jar full of wheat, but that wheat is not bread. Okay, for that wheat to become bread, you don't just pull it out of the bucket and put it in a pot and cook it. You have to have a grinder. So there's another tool that you need. Okay, you have to have pans to put in. You have to have an oven. That's a little oven back there that goes on a camp stove. You also have to have the leaven, a yeast or the baking powder, baking soda, depending on what kind of bread or muffins that you're making, water, sugar, salt, oil. All of these things are more food, okay, extra ingredients, and also more tools necessary to make that bread happen. Now, I love bread, okay, but that's not my first stage that I'm going to build on. I'm going to start with the minimum rations. There's your beans and rice, your 9 grain, something that I can cook with a minimum amount of water, minimal amount of heat in a pot. Okay, your tools are minimal at that point. If you already have tools and you already have some other things and you're starting kind of in the middle, well, that's what we're going to talk about in the next video when we talk about stage 2 comfortable living. But this video is just to illustrate the importance of when you're starting with your foundation. You want your foundation to be strong, okay? You want your foundation to be complete so that you can build up from there. You take those beans and rice that we talked about, that 9 grain, some little spices and some salt, and a minimum amount of tools, and you can survive, you can keep your family alive for the extended period of time. And then after that, after you get that laid out, then you're going to want to move on to your second stage. The benefit of doing it this way, okay, you're doing that first stage in a block lump sum. You're getting your 2-year supply down or a 1-year supply down for 4 people or whatever it is, but you're getting a lump sum knocked out in a single setting. Okay, now you have those rations, so you have the security knowing that you have your foundation taken care of. Then you can spend more time in accumulating your second stage and your third stage as needed because you're safe. You have that security of your foundation underneath you. There are a lot of other programs where you purchased 2 cans of soup at the grocery store, or you purchase 2 this or that, or double up on whatever, and those are great. Those are supplementations and to keep things going into your second stage. But you don't want to be buying 2 cans of soup right now without anything foundation-wise to be safe with, and then have the bottom fall out. Okay, you get your foundation laid away, you know your family is secure, and then from there you can start building into that second stage with those other programs of buying an extra can of soup here and there, increasing what your daily usages are on different things and adding them to your storage. But you have to have your foundation first, or you're building on nothing and you don't have the security. All right, if you have any questions, always feel free to get back to us at yourownarc.blogspot.com. Drop us an email, send us a question, or post a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you.